Hello there everybody, how are you doing? Rosanna here, founder of RozyGlow and Enjoy Yoga, and I just wanted to give you a little update on what happens when you utilize consciousness tools like the Fearless, Empowered and Free to Be Me program over time. For those of you who don't know, I created this program in 2015, so it's been going now for 4 years. And obviously I was the originator and the instigator of this whole process, which is a combination of physical, emotional and mental detox and reprogramming. Right now I am sitting on my dad's boat, and this is another holiday that I've had in the last 10 months. I think it's so important to be able to reflect on where I was when I first started and where I am now. So please excuse my bedraggled look, because this is the raw, authentic me, not having had a bath or washed my hair for about 5 days, taking in the sunset the day after the solstice, and just loving the fact that this is my second sailing holiday this year, or in the last 10 months. I've also spent another month in the Cayman Islands on a beautiful paradise island. So Cayman's just south, Grand Cayman of Florida, and I have had at least 4 mini breaks in the last 10 months, and what I mean by that is whole weekends off, plus allowing myself to actually have a full 24 to 36 hours off a week. Now, anyone who's self-employed, anyone who's an entrepreneur will know how difficult it is to give that time to yourself, because there are always things to do. And one of the biggest issues we have when we are self-generating in this respect is that we feel if we stop, we're not going to be able to get back on and do what we're doing without having to climb an insurmountable mountain. And this is all belief based, you know. Like, I first started running my yoga business in 2004, and I started RozyGlow in 2014, with my program going live in 2015. And what I will say is that all of my work prior to that was very much on the basis that you have to work hard to get results. And anytime I did take time off, I was basically always rewarded with something terrible happening. And I know many of you will resonate with this, because the belief is that you can't stop. If you stop, then everything falls apart, because, you know, it all depends on me, and I'm the only one who can do anything, and I'm the only one who can do things to this standard, blah blah blah. And basically we get stuck in a rut. Now, my new paradigm is that whenever I really rest, I make money, and this has been consistently true since I decided to claim that as a truth, though I did have to clear my resistance to it. And my beautiful partner has been instrumental in supporting me to move through my personal resistance to that being true. So where do we go? Well, when I first started this program, I was a yoga teacher, I was a Reiki master, I had spent a lot of years in self-development, and I was utilizing tools that many others use to try and work with their conscious mind to change their perspective of the world, and as a result their experience of life. And it was a slow path. It was a consistently slow path. I'd tried EFT, I'd tried NLP, I'd tried all sorts of things to support me, including positive thinking and mindfulness and affirmations. But it wasn't until I decided to fully and deeply commit to reprogramming my subconscious, to looking at the erroneous beliefs that I was gifted as a child, as a baby, and I took on as my truth, because that's what we do as babies and children. It's through the theta brainwave programming, which is a highly suggestible brain state that we're in up until the age of about 6 or 7. That means that we take on the truths of those around us as our truth. And if you were brought up around struggle on any level, and trust me, I see so many wealthy people that are actually so materially wealthy, stuck in a lack consciousness. So it doesn't actually matter how much money you grew up around. What matters is the energy of what was around you. So in terms of love, in terms of health, in terms of resources and money, and how you were taught to feel about what is valuable. So most of us have been taught to believe that you should work hard for anything you truly believe in. And I do believe commitment is essential to get results, because what happens is we give up when things get tough and we feel like we're a failure. We then look for another source, another thing to do, rather than to take a step back and look at what went wrong and what we can learn from it and how we can do better next time. There are 3 essential things that are important. One is to have an intention, so to have a true desire that is genuine, that is based on a heartfelt desire rather than an ego desire, which ultimately also is a call to love. But what we're talking about here is the need to control things externally in order to feel safe. So very often people just want to win the lottery so they never have to work again, or marry someone so that they don't have to worry about making their own money and they'll be looked after and they won't have to try so hard. And these are big rough examples, but ultimately what they point to is the fact that you are the person that needs to show up for you. You are the person that needs to be there for you no matter what. And when you do that, and you do that consistently, you will start to see results. So part one is desire, part two is commitment to that desire, to the fruition of that desire no matter what, and to keep checking in with your intention to make sure it's aligned with love. The third aspect is surrendering. So surrendering to a higher will, surrendering to the fact that things might not go exactly as you expect them to, but they will go the way that is most aligned with the divine, your higher self, when you open yourself to that. When I first discovered my teacher and I went through this reprogramming, the emotional mental detox, which I now teach and have been teaching for the last 5 years in my coaching work, I remember her saying to me, look, Rosanna, you've only just, done the reprogramming. Don't expect, to meet the man of your dreams at this stage. I've been a single mother basically all of my daughter's life from the age of her being 10 months old. I'd had other relationships, but I'd never fully committed because I was scared of making the wrong decision, because all I'd seen around me was unhealthy and unhappy relationships. And even though there seemed to be a shift from where my parents separated and then had other partners, really there wasn't that deep love around me that I wanted to emulate. I hadn't seen it anywhere, so I had to create it by evolving my own inner family. And it's funny because the person that I am with is actually the first person that I met 5 years ago when I first started my reprogramming. I'd just done the male detox, but neither of us were in the place where we could really give each other the love and the support and be the people that we are today, which means we can truly appreciate what we have and to keep evolving it into a greater state of love and appreciation and gratitude and building dreams together, which is what we're so excited to be doing. As I said, Susanna said to me, look, you're going to have a couple of years of really needing to discover who you are in your authenticity, because you've reprogrammed, but you're going to meet your resistance time and again, and you're going to have to make the choice again and again not to live through the old ways, but to actually choose to live in accordance with your higher will. And that is why I created the consciousness tools that are part of the Fearless program, because they needed, you need something to direct your conscious mind when it just wants to go back to old ways. And my old ways were that I worked 12 to 14 hour days because I loved what I did. I really believed in what I did, but I felt like I had to work that hard in order to justify my existence. My whole self-worth was tied in with my work. And if anyone ever thought when I went away that I was on holiday, I was actually really miffed about it. I was like, I'm not on holiday, I'm working. And I was always working. This really cost my daughter time with me. It cost me the ability of getting close to people. It meant that really I was missing out on things because I was on my own self-created Ferris wheel, and I felt that it was justified because what I did I felt was benefiting the world, in the sense that I was offering yoga and I was developing myself and through my own experience helping others. But I had to make the big leap from trying to prevent people going through pain to helping them manage their pain, and seeing that pain is a useful teacher until you choose to learn through love. And as this planet, the inhabitants of this planet are so fear driven, when you decide to unplug from the fear paradigm and to actually plug into love, you will come across a lot of resistance, both from within and around you. And so having tools to support you to work with your conscious mind, what you're aware of, whilst you reprogram your subconscious mind, which is what you're not aware of, but is in operation 90 to 95% of the time. So in every hour, you can just say, if 5 minutes of each hour you're conscious and the rest of your time you're operating from your programming. It takes a little while for that bridge to be built, and I know I went through a real roller coaster. I know that I had to dramatize a lot in order to be able to make sense of it. And also, I know that what has happened since I started this work is I've become more and more effective as a coach in terms of supporting my clients to get the results that they actually want. Not through me working harder, but through me trusting myself more, trusting my intuition, trusting my processes more, and trusting that it is safe to let go. I can let go, I can trust, I can operate in such a way where I don't have to work the way I used to in order to get the results that I want. My income has increased year on year. I doubled my turnover this year from last year. And, you know, this really was my magical year because, you know, 5 years on from the reprogramming, it's why I call the Fearless program the gift that keeps on giving, because my clients from 4 years ago contact me to let me know about the changes that are still going on in their lives since they committed to the tools and work the tools diligently as I do. And it's why I have a membership program to support people as well. But what I really want to get across is that imagine a stressed out, well-meaning single mother who is too scared to get close to anyone because she's scared of losing her independence. She's scared of being trapped in something she doesn't want to be in. Fear is motivating her every decision, including how she parents her daughter, even though she knows better consciously, but her programming is very much based on fear. We have had issues come up in terms of me coming to understand that my daughter has got ADHD, and as she was growing up, it was very difficult for me to be able to see this and to see that actually her behaviour was not something that was a personal attack against me, but was her trying to deal with the world around her. And because I had grown up with very much a model of suppressing what isn't comfortable, what isn't allowed, you know, you just got on with it. And I think so many of us identify with this. You just had to shut yourself down, get on with it. And so food addictions, other addictions, escapism became the way of being able to live in this world without acknowledging the pain that we're in. And so many of us are involved in this cycle, keeping busy for the sake of keeping busy so we don't actually think, constantly having noise going on so we don't actually hear what's inside of us. And yet all we want is all the voices to quieten down, and yet when they do, we get scared that we've lost our mind. And that is the difference between the ego mind and divine mind, is that you actually do have silence. And so in working the tools, for me it's really been important to recognize, 1, when I'm in fear, 2, to shake that fear off, 3, to come to my heart. I literally have to take a step back from where I am, because that's me saying, right, I'm stepping out of the danger zone into a place where I can reconnect with my heart self, and then looking at my intention and what my intention is in any moment, looking at how aligned with that intention is, how am I showing up, what is the world reflecting back to me, and then aligning every which way I can through the tools that I teach, and then taking inspired action from it. So this led me to come to a place where I have a most exquisite relationship with my partner. It's so different to anything I've ever had. I wake up every day feeling so blessed. I've had 4 mini breaks this year already, and by that I mean whole weekends, as I said. I've had a month in the Grand Cayman. I'm now on a boat for the 2nd time. October was the 1st, and here I am in June. I take a break every 3 months, no matter what, whether it's a week, whether it's 4 days. I take the time off during the week, as I mentioned. I've realised the value of investing in me is the greatest gift I can give to anyone else. And I've also learnt to love my shadow. So one of the things that I actually notice is my clients, when they're about to have a leap, they face their own resistance, and what we all do is we project on those that basically are forcing us to change. So if we've elected to do something and someone is guiding us, we're going to get angry with the guide, and this is standard, and I've been through it so many times with my own teachers. I've learned not to fear it. Part of me learning not to fear it was learning to love my own shadow. So for all my charm, I have a stinky temper, and I have had to really learn to harness that energy, that rage, that frustration, the desire to lash out, the desire to blame, and then the guilt and the shame that comes from not being in alignment. But loving yourself through everything is essential. Loving yourself through every moment that you feel you are unlovable is what will help you to move out of these times having power over you. And I've come to accept I don't need to be liked all the time. I've come to accept that as a voice of authority, it's important for me to stand in my power, but also to be open to recognizing where there is a blind spot coming up that perhaps I'm not aware of. And that has meant from people I love dearly, whether they're younger than me, older than me, on a par with me, whether they're people that work for me, whether they're my friends, whether they're my partner, whether they're my child, whether they're my parent. It's that openness, that willingness to be transparent, to be visible, to see what others see anyway and love you anyway, but to see it yourself, to own it, and to be able to move through it. This and so many other things have occurred, but essentially when you move out of fear, you recognize where you're still in fear, you're patient with yourself, with where you haven't quite got to where you want to be yet, and you celebrate what you're actually doing really, really well. And you recognize that you are worthy of love, even if you're not perfect. You are worthy of the things that you want for yourself, even if you haven't achieved everything on your list that you feel you need to achieve in order to be worthy of love. All of this softens us. It allows us to drop out of the critical mind into our hearts, and it allows us to be more effective in anything we do, because we stop making our judgments and our decisions from here and we start to trust our heart. I've had the biggest lessons this year in no longer listening to what people say and actually feeling with my heart what my response to them saying is, and trusting that, because our intuition and our imagination are two of our greatest gifts. If you reawaken your imagination, anything is possible. But it's very important to remember that people are very well meaning, but they will tell you what they feel you want to hear rather than what they really mean, because we are not living in a world that is used to being so transparent and authentic. When we live in the way that is transparent and authentic, and we own how we truly feel, then we can change things, we can adapt our view, but we have to be met on that level of authenticity. And for many of us, when we're starting on this path, we are the way showers, so we have to be able to recognize that others aren't there yet, and that's not through any fault of their own, it's because they haven't yet awakened to the true power within them. So my greatest joy is supporting people to see their power, to be a mirror for that power, and also a mirror for when they're out of alignment with that power. And that is what has changed things so much. This is what has allowed my fertility clients to have results when they have been challenged and struggled so much to actually end up with a viable pregnancy and a healthy baby. Some of them have had to recognize that actually that isn't the path for them right now, and it might never be, but that they can share that love in other ways. And the key is the self-nurture, the self-love first, because we often want to give love to others without having given to ourselves first. My fearless clients, fearless, empowered and free to be me clients, have both managed to overcome challenges in relationships, but also to walk away from toxic relationships and learn to value themselves more, and to see where they have been in positions that have been disempowering them, and to make very brave choices, to learn not to distract themselves because they don't want to do the inner work by wanting someone else to come and save them, and actually to build a bridge from where they are to where they want to be by taking simple and consistent steps, and knowing when it's time to take a break, knowing when they're about to go through a leap because of their own resistance and fear that comes up, and recognizing the signals of change actually coming about. In my world, I feel so blessed. I feel so happy to be able to offer what I do, to start now to honor my worth. And I really had to up my prices to be able to find the balance between what I deliver, what I give, and then the currency of exchange, the currency of gratitude, otherwise known as money. And as I started to find that level and to really believe in my worth, I invested in others to support me to grow. So I invested money that I never thought that I would actually be able to bring together. Money I didn't have in the physical yet, but because I knew I wanted to take that leap, I committed to myself. I committed to doing the work, knowing that the resources would show up, as so many of my clients have actually done. And this is what happens. You get a 360 shift in your life. You don't just get an improvement in your health or your love life or in your money, in your job. You get an improvement all round, and you get to constantly adapt things and say, well, okay, we're doing really well here, so let's apply this over here as well. And how would this look now if it was aligned with grace and ease? If we're all living with grace and ease as our intention, then we can get through anything that is challenging with the soft heart that is required to be able to see where we can adjust ourselves, and therefore through adjusting our perception we can allow things to become possible that weren't possible before. So I wanted to leave that there, really, just to say that whatever you want, you are totally deserving of. This has been my lesson as well. Whatever I've wanted, I'm totally deserving of. And as I've claimed my right to have it no matter what, and to step into alignment with what I want rather than what I feel in the past I deserved, I have come to see the results that I have. And it is a joy to take time off. It is a joy to be in service to my clients. It is a joy to be in love. It is a joy to see my income increasing. It is a joy to see my vibrant health becoming something that I focus on and I keep supporting to get better and better. It is a joy to feel as though I have an amazing community around me. All of these things mean that I am living my personal paradise, and I am constantly fine-tuning what that means as what I want changes, because I am a co-creator of my reality. I am the source of my creations, and I do practice what I preach. I've been through every stumbling block that any of you will go through, so I know what it looks like when you're getting there, and I know how to help people go through it. And thankfully I have people around me who trust me enough, whether they're family members, friends, colleagues, to actually do the work with me, to come and do the journey, the Fearless journey or the Conceive with Ease journey, because they see the value of it on the basis of how they've seen me change. And that doesn't mean I'm all rainbows and unicorns, baby. It means that I accept my shadow and my light, and I allow all aspects of my being to coexist, but I choose to focus on the parts of me that I most want to energize by allowing the other parts of me to coexist and to be met with love and acceptance. That is what committing to utilizing the tools will give you. That is what will happen if you consistently show up for yourself and allow yourself to go through that process of recognizing when you're in fear, shaking that fear off, taking a step back, getting reconnected with your heart, because that is your superconscious. That's where you'll get that connection to your superconscious, and it will allow you to unplug from the fear paradigm. Getting connected to your higher self through the divine architecture that I teach, and then looking at your intention, your alignment with that intention, and taking inspired action from there. That's the process. It works beautifully, and each of us expresses it in our own unique way. So if you want some of this, get in touch. It's there for you as well. There is nothing that makes you different from me. There is nothing that makes you different from any of my clients who've had success stories. The people that I see stepping back are the people that get into a comfort zone and don't want to step out of it again. Change is constant. Change is good. Embrace it, or find that you will look for reasons to stay places that you know ultimately aren't where you want to be. Others are happy with the small changes. They don't want big changes, and that's okay. But it is important, once you've committed to a path, to remember that that path needs maintenance. And that's why, in looking at all of the reserves, all of the resources that are offered to you in my programs, you can go back to them at any point, and you have a community of soul family around you, star family and soul family around you to support you. That's what I set in motion to support you. So yeah, it's time for all of us to wake up. It's time for all of us to see that what we are inspired by in others, and potentially envious of in others, we can have too. And by daring to step up to our own brilliance, we become a shining light. We don't have to fear the curses and the bad thoughts of others, because we're bigger than that. We are stronger than that. And so we free ourselves, we liberate ourselves to be the lighthouse, to be the beacon, and to support others to follow through our example. We are the second coming. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. No one's going to save us but ourselves. Thankfully, there are tools that teach us how to do it, and I'm very proud to say that my Fearless program and my Conceive with Ease program are both full of brilliant tools to support you to do things in the fastest and most graceful and easy way possible. Lots of love from me. I'll give you another update soon. Take care.